This is the Lifestyle Business Owner Show, where we talk about the street smarts of small business. Your hosts are Aaron and Mayumi Muller, owners of 8 companies that run without them, and founders of the LBO Academy. It's your turn to discover how you can own a business that runs without you. Now, here's Aaron and Mayumi.
Good morning, everyone. This is Aaron Muller with the Lifestyle Business Owner Show, where we talk about the street smarts of small business. If you guys can't listen to the show today, the entire show today, you can go to lboradio.com. That's lboradio.com and either get today's episode or any other episode we have done previously. Today, our guest is a serial entrepreneur who's been owning and operating multiple businesses for over 20 years, and he's going to be sharing with us how to position your company for the future. Our guest today is Michael Rogers. He's a successful entrepreneur and the owner of 3 companies. For the last 20 years, he's been the owner of Beeline Charters and Tours, which provides vans, minibuses, and passenger motor coaches for hire. 3 years ago, he purchased Show Me Seattle, which offers visitors to Seattle a variety of experiences from Seattle sightseeing and food tour to a Boeing factory tour. Just last summer, he bought Seattle Express, which provides passenger service from SeaTac hotels to local cruise piers. Also, we have my co-host, Mayumi Muller. She's not only my business partner, but also my partner in life. She's an amazing woman, a true hustler, and if I didn't have her by my side, I would never have the success I do. Mayumi, why don't you say hi to everyone?
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Michael, for being here. You know what? He has a great industry he's in. It's like touring, and
it's fun.
This
it's all about
time of
fun.
The, like summer is like when
Michael, I
wants
hope
to
you're
be
as
here.
fun as your industry is.
Oh, he is. I can tell. I talked to him in the green room, so I'm excited. So the topic that we're going to be talking about this morning is position your company for the future. And so, Michael, thank you for being on our show this morning.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Good. And so, what motivated you to become a business owner?
The short answer was I was unemployable.
Aren't we all as
I
owners, as
think
business
we
owners,
all are
right?
as business owners.
We're like, okay, default, be a business owner.
Right. So that was definitely one of the top motivating factors. But this time of the year, this is when I started my business over 20 years ago. And it was due to a lack of the ability to get to a ski resort on a Wednesday. So often
nice.
today, we just had 3 feet of fresh snow in the mountains. I had money. I didn't have a car. I was living in Seattle, and I didn't have a way to get there. And I was like, something's wrong with this. So I decided to step in and start a company that provided transportation to local ski resorts.
Oh,
Wow.
cool. Okay. Well, I first want to say, you talk about 20 years. You look like you're about 24 years old. So,
I was a young starter.
oh man. So that's actually really cool.
That's
So you
really-
start a
he
business
saw
based
a
off of your passion,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
Skiing, and then thinking like, hey, I can get people up there.
And a
in better way.
need,
Yeah.
Gosh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I think many businesses start with that. You identify a need that's
Yeah.
not being serviced, and that says, well, someone has to do it. So I decided to step up and provide that, that service. And now my company has evolved where that's not even what we do any longer.
Wow. You know what? He created action. So,
Yes.
because sometimes people will be like, oh, I'm going to start this.
Yep.
And it's just a pie in the sky dream, right? But Michael actually put action to it,
Yeah.
which is great.
So what did you? So your first, I was just curious as far as what was that first vehicle you bought, or what it was, a van or a bus, or what was it?
It was the worst purchase I've ever made. Oh my God. I made every mistake you could make, I made it. So I had a $18,000 budget that my parents, I was fortunate to have
Nice.
that
Yep.
seed capital. I immediately went out and spent $13,500 on an airport or shuttle that from San Francisco. That was a Hertz shuttle that had perimeter seating, and just was not the appropriate vehicle for what I wanted to do. But I'd already spent the money, so I made it work. But yeah, it was not less than ideal. And the first mountain I decided to provide daily transportation to was Mount Baker.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So, because I liked going to Mount Baker, that was my personal.
Oh
Yep.
God! But
favorite.
it wasn't necessarily the most popular mountain to be,
Like
sending
Snow
people to.
Kwame might have been a little bit closer, right?
Definitely would have been more viable than what I did. The crazy part was that first winter in 1996 was a record year for Mount Baker, and they actually set the record for the most ski and snow in North America.
Wow.
So while my business wasn't viable, I did have a great time snowboarding that winter.
Were you the
So
only
it was-
passenger on that vehicle?
I would often have 2 or 3 people for a 14-hour round trip. It was a rough start to my my entrepreneurial career,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
the one thing any successful entrepreneur does is that they're persistent and
Yep.
and you evolve.
And you learn from
sure.
your mistakes, you
Yeah,
know, so you knew that the next van probably wasn't a perimeter seating van,
Correct.
right?
And
Yeah.
and I wasn't going to Mount Baker.
Yeah.
We scaled it down to Crystal Mountain, and
Did you end up putting stripper poles in it? And, making it-
we had to pay the bills somehow. So
Whatever it needed to be, that's what it was for that year.
exactly.
So how many employees do you currently have?
We fluctuate between, right now we're at about 25, but in the season, because all of my businesses are very seasonal, we'll fluctuate up to 35 to 40 employees.
Wow.
Wow, that's great.
So you definitely got lots of challenges, being that many employees and operating a business like that, or multiple
Yeah.
businesses that you're operating.
So what do you find is give us a few of your biggest challenges?
Well, the biggest challenge is acquiring talent, access to labor. And,
Everybody's
and,
dealing with
Yeah.
that.
shortages, employees. Yeah, every industry is dealing with that.
Yeah.
So finding qualified people to, drive a motor coach, but also represent your brand the way you'd like it represented.
Right.
So tell us how. Okay, that's let's see what you're doing to actually attract this talent and get it. Because I just saw on the news they were trying to do the final flight of what it was, a 747, and they couldn't even get enough pilots to fly to the final voyage of this airline. So
Wow.
what are you doing right now while our economy is booming to even get people to work for you?
employees.
If there's anyone out there listening,
We'll make sure
send
you
me
get your
your
number.
send me your ideas and suggestions. And we're incentivizing our employees to recruit.
Okay.
That's great.
That's a good way.
That's a good way.
We're just trying to think out of the box a little bit. The Craigslist just isn't cutting it
Yeah.
anymore.
No.
So
I hear you.
we really haven't solved that problem, to be honest with
it's
you.
just is persistent. Do you end up running more ads now than ever, and just have kind of an ongoing process of trying to hire?
Absolutely. So we're hiring year round,
Yeah.
which we used to just hire, 3 months or 2 months
Yeah.
before the season. But we're also paying a ton of overtime because guys are just
Oh,
getting it in while they can, which is impacting my bottom line
Yeah.
for all my businesses. Yeah.
Well, I would think, college students out there.
come on.
Summer in Seattle. That's the best place to be in the USA. So
Heck yeah.
put in your applications to Michael. Like, get that job for the summer, at least for the summer. That's your peak season.
Right. One of the challenges is you have to have a CDL often to
I was gonna ask
operate
that.
And the state of Washington is 26 and over. But we do have other
Okay.
positions that we're looking for. So please do
Nice.
take
Please take-
Mayumi's advice and send me your application.
Okay, I have a long question for
Sure,
you.
go
So,
ahead.
so let's talk about technology companies disrupting the industries lately, right? So we know we've been hearing a lot about technology companies, disrupting our industry. Companies like Amazon's disrupting the retail industry. Bitcom disrupting the financial industry, Airbnb disrupting the hotel industry, Uber disrupting the taxi industry. Ooh, that is a mouthful. disrupting. You know what? That's good. We like disruptions because change comes out of
grow,
that and we grow. So tell us about the technology startups that are disrupting your industry and how they're affecting your business.
It's really that's really a great question. It's something I put a lot of thought into is trying to get the answers on that. And what's funny is when I started my business, like I explained to you my history of how I got started in industry. The same idea happened to a group of kids in New York, in Manhattan, where they were snowed in and they wanted to go up to Vermont to go skiing. They couldn't get there, and like, why is this? But instead of going out and buying a bus and starting a company, they went out and started a platform to connect people to buses. And so this company, what they've done is they've allowed, say you wanted to go skiing, you would post your trip up on the platform, and then that would get advertised to other people who maybe want to go skiing with you on the same day. Once you get to a critical mass, if there's 15 people that are interested in doing that activity, they then contact me, the bus owner, and say, hey, show up at this place. and go up to the ski resort in Vermont and bring them back. And so this company has positioned themselves between
That's great.
the bus company and the consumer.
And the consumer.
So
That's
so they're
great.
benefiting you.
They're benefiting.
Is there anybody
Yeah.
that's actually potentially getting into the industry that might be hurting you? That potential, or it could be a challenge for you that you have to like adapt. And if so, is there anything that you're doing to change your way?
That's a dual-edged sword, because any company that gets between you and your consumer is not necessarily benefiting you. So what could happen is that now that company that sits in the middle has the ability to select what company they want to work with.
Right.
And then they can drive down your, negotiate you down on your
Right.
prices. So while it can be a benefit, it depends on your business model. And their business model works in a way that says, hey, we're going to sell your bus by the seat. And they're gonna buy my services by the hour, and they're gonna make the profit. Well, the most successful companies in my industry maybe have a 20% profit margin. 75% of the companies in my industry have between a 10 and 15% profit margin. That's because we're selling our service by the hour. So if we want to get ahead and be profitable, we have to think like these technology
Right.
companies, and
Right.
why can't I build a platform?
Exactly. That's brilliant. That's a great idea.
So are you doing it?
Yeah.
So we are working on that, and we're so fortunate to live in a great city like Seattle that
Yes.
you can actually the
You can do
talent
that.
here is- yeah.
And you can kind of compartmentalize it, like we live in Bellevue on the east side. So you have your east side platform, right? And then you have here in this area in the south end or, west side. So it's nice because we are a really small community for such a big town, I think.
Yeah. And
wow,
so,
that's awesome. Good for you, Michael.
Yeah, no, I like that. I want to
I
keep
like
us up
it.
to date on that, as you progress with that new technology, and it's something you probably end up rolling out like for other people in your industry. So that are
That's the idea, to ultimately transition from owning a bus company to owning a platform.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
So as far as like a lot of the millennials and everything are really into technology and everything, and so obviously as businesses are moving on and our society changing, but what if they don't really care if they get all that millennial business? They just want to rely on the people that don't care about technology. What do you say to that?
I think that doesn't really compute.
Well, you know what? We're going to have to wait to hear back from Michael about what he says about the millennials. Today, we're talking to Michael Rogers. He is a serial entrepreneur that currently owns 3 companies. We're going over how to position your company for the future. Follow the Lifestyle Business Owner on Facebook and Instagram. You can also listen to the Lifestyle Business Show anytime, anywhere on lboradio.com. That's lboradio.com.
More of the Lifestyle Business Owner Show coming up here on Business Radio 1300 KKOL. Log on to lboradio.com while you listen to the Lifestyle Business Owner Show. Now back to Aaron and Mayumi Muller.
Welcome back to the Lifestyle Business Owner Show, where we talk about the street smarts of small business. This morning, we're talking with Michael Rogers. He is a serial entrepreneur that currently owns 3 companies, and we're going over how to position your company for the future. In our last segment, we left off with millennials. We are raising many of them.
We got a few of those.
We got 3.5, right? The younger ones are considered something else.
Oh,
But at
that's
least we
true.
have 3 millennials that
Yeah.
we're raising. So, say you're a business owner and you don't believe that you need to capture millennial audience, nor do you have to keep up on technology. What would you say to business owners that have that type of mindset?
Well, wake up. Millennials are the future.
Wake up
They're the-
and
I hear you
smell
there,
the
brother.
coffee.
the largest demographic since the baby boomers. So,
Yeah.
you would be insane not to pay attention.
Yeah.
to what
I have to
millennials-
agree.
yeah.
So what do you say to like business owners out there, trying to say, I want to move with the times, what do? I don't even know where to start. Technology is difficult for me. I'm not really, in tune with, what's happening and where I need to go with my business. How does somebody get there even to figure out what to do in their business?
Industry trade shows are a good way.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
staying abreast of what's
That's good.
going on in your industry. I attend trade shows twice a year just to see where the direction of the industry, see
That's
any
a great
innovation.
That's great, yeah.
So invest. That's a way of investing in your business, is by taking the time out of your busy schedule to go to trade shows and learn about technology.
Try to find as many in Vegas as you can too, right? Or sunny places.
Yeah, sunny places.
Vegas, Hawaii. I would say too, I just had an idea. It would also be probably good to ask your customers, right? Like maybe what do you get, kind of like maybe a suggestion, like what do you think, what do you like about what we're doing?
Yeah.
And what would you like to see us doing in the future?
And to make it easier for them to buy from you, right?
Exactly.
So like ask your customers or find out what, I always think, like when I'm thinking about my businesses and adding technology to it, I think, okay, I'm a consumer. What do I like about buying things from Amazon or whoever, like let's say the automated system, like checkout at Home Depot, so I don't have to deal with the employees there, right? I mean, I might like that. And so I think, what can I do to automate my business and make it more efficient and easier for my customers to want to buy from me? So that's something that I like.
Yeah, I mean,
to throw.
customers are the key to success. So we have to, again, we always talk about with business owners, and Michael probably feels the same way just because he listens to his employees and his customers. But listening to people really can help affect how you move forward, in your business, in your industry.
Especially though when those customers are, millennials.
Right.
And so you could listen to your grandfather as a customer, but that's not really going to position your business for the future. And
so there's your market.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to know your demographic and you have to know those trends. And so for millennials, everything that I've read so far is instant, quick, on demand, mobile.
I always say if I own a couple auto repair shops, right? So I always think if I had a barcode system to fix a car, I'd be rich, man, because nobody wants to leave their car at our shop. So,
well, look at your industry though, and you think about what's happening out there. And there's a company called Wrench, which is a mobile auto repair. So what they're doing is instead of the customer having to come to your shop, drop it off, and leave it there, they just tell them, "Hey, I need to get my car serviced. I'm working down in Pioneer Square," and they'll go find your car and they'll fix it while you're at work. And so your industry, you think mobile, that I'm not ripe for disruption. I'm an auto repair shop. That's never going to change. But here's a real world example where your industry is in the process of maybe being disrupted.
Yeah. If they can get past all the environmental laws.
Yeah.
There are regulation challenges.
Do not drop a drop of that oil.
Not
You're
in
doing
Seattle.
That oil change on location.
The DOE, Department of Environment, or whoever will be there in 1 minute with a hazmat crew and sending you a bill for sure.
Yeah. So just one more question on the getting it up to date in the technology world. Like all these huge companies have big budgets to do this stuff, right? So I know you're developing some type of a platform. I mean, how much does it cost to get into new technology? Because the budgets that a Microsoft or an Amazon have are unlimited, right? But small business owners, we all know that our budgets are very, very small. We have to be really smart about it. Do you have any advice to small business owners how to do technology cheap?
Well, that's the beauty of the entrepreneurial system, is that people recognize that there's a need for small businesses to gain access to these same powerful technologies that used to be only accessible to these Fortune 500 companies. And so we've been looking at a model for our charters that is dynamic pricing. So think of the airlines. Your expectations when you buy an airline ticket, it's not going to be the same day to day. It changes, fluctuates up and down. Well, we've been selling our bus charter business on a flat rate, regardless if it's a busy day or a slow day, you get the same price. And there's a lot of algorithms and rules and all the stuff that go into that, which I don't have access to as a small business. Like, how do I develop a dynamic pricing tool? And so there are companies out there, though, that provide that service. And so you go to them, and one's called, I think, Beyond Pricing, which is focused on Airbnb, where they'll look at the market as a whole, and they'll price your Airbnb unit based on the demand. And so there's solutions out there where you don't need an IT team any longer.
Nice, you can outsource all that.
You can outsource it all.
That's great.
Let's get into a little bit. Oh, did you have a question, babe?
Well, I have a question. We have lots of business owners out there listening to our show, wannabe business owners. What do you think are some key takeaways from your experience of owning 3 companies, that you could give advice to people out there that either currently own a business or considering buying a business?
So if you currently own a business, number one is evolve or die. And that's really
I
the
love that.
premises of this conversation, is that no matter how successful you've been in the past, it's not, your future isn't guaranteed. So you need to continue to invest in your business. You need to stay at the forefront of technologies that will impact your business. You need to study your competitors and see what they're doing well. And you need to look at the market as a whole, as we talked about earlier, as millennials, and saying those are the future. So how do I get my business positioned to cater to their buying habits? And
Brilliant. That was brilliant. Great takeaway. Yeah.
And then for people looking to get into business, something that you touched on earlier is just do it. Don't. Sometimes you get hung up on developing a business plan.
Have you? I feel like I've heard that before. Where did that come from?
I think I
Did you
always
just make
say
that
it.
up? Did you just make that up?
Should I copyright that?
Yeah, copyright it.
Just do it?
Just do it.
Okay.
Just do it, you guys.
All right.
Again, you're right. You know, everyone
It's
can
so true,
dream to
though.
be an entrepreneur or business owner, but
all
you
about
have
action.
to do the action.
All about
Yep.
action. I mean, that's
It is.
probably the biggest part about business ownership, or really making anything happen. It's just
Absolutely.
making that. So let's talk about buying a business. You know, our third segment is going to be a lot about buying a business. So it's kind of a good idea to bring up your experience, because you bought a business recently.
Yeah.
So tell me, what made you decide to buy that business versus starting one up?
Well, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
So
good.
they came to you?
Yeah, they came to me, but we've been working together for years, and it's really kind of a funny story, and I talk a lot, and I know we have a limited amount of time, but my first job was working in the transportation industry, was working as a tour guide for Show Me Seattle. The gentleman that owned the company lived upstairs from me in an apartment building.
Okay.
Well, that was a company I bought 3 years ago.
All right.
Called Show Me Seattle.
All right.
And so it became full circle and went through a bunch of hands. But overall, when I looked at it, I didn't buy it because I used to work for it, or because
right.
it made sense. There was no overlap. So if you look at Beeline as a transportation company for private groups, then you looked at what Show Me Seattle had to offer of servicing all the hotels in the tourist industry. It made sense that I could buy that company and then I could scale up using my existing fleet for Beeline. So I looked at, all right, how does this company fit in? Is there any overlap?
Right.
No, there's not. It's a great brand. It's been around for over 24 years now.
Wow.
And it just made sense. And I was familiar with the industry as well. Seattle Express, same idea, where very niche business provided ground transportation for cruise ship passengers, providing the link from SeaTac hotels to the piers. And it's a service that we offer from Beeline on a private basis, but not on an individual basis. Looked at that business, no overlap, fits in perfectly with what
Great.
I'm already doing. But what we were able to do was scale the demand to meet the demand using Beeline's fleet. So before, the previous owner was limited because he only had 5 buses, and they
Right.
only had 23 seats on each bus. So you can only do maybe 100 people plus a day. Whereas now that we have an access to an entire fleet of motor coaches, we can scale up to meet the demand. And so we looked at those two businesses and how they fit with my existing business, and overall my experience within that industry. And when it all added up, it all made sense. And so that's why the
great.
acquisitions happened, is because they made business sense.
Do you think that you're much more successful doing it that way than if you were to start it from scratch? Like, would it have cost you the same amount of money to start it from scratch versus buying?
In both these particular cases, it made way more sense to buy it versus to go out and create a brand to compete with it.
Right.
It just made way more sense to do that. And what I've noticed is buying businesses has been my best investments that I've ever made. Way more than buying equipment. You can go out and buy a beautiful motor coach these days, costs $550,000.
Wow.
Wow.
And if you're lucky, you'll get a return on that, of $25,000 to $50,000 a year or something like that, if you're lucky. If you go out and buy a business for $500,000, the return on investment has been in my experience, has been way greater than just buying a piece of equipment. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity out there to buy business, but you have to do your due diligence.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Make sure you're making the right decisions.
Exactly. Well, that's
this
how
is
we're on the same page here, Michael.
Yeah. We buy businesses too. You
Yeah.
know, that's the way we recommend it all the time in our book that we wrote, The Lifestyle Business Owner. We teach people how to buy a good business. That's the first chapters of the book, because we know that it's cheaper usually to buy a business than it is to start one from scratch.
Because your last business that you bought had several buses. So you already had bought the business with buses along the way. So thank you so much, Michael, for being on our show this morning. If you want to schedule an awesome tour of Seattle, you can contact Michael's company, Show Me Seattle, at 206-633-2489. Here at the Lifestyle Business Owner Academy, we're not rendering financial or legal advice. We're not telling you what you should or shouldn't do with your money or your business. We're just simply telling you what we do personally. When we come back, we're going to start our LBO segment. This is where you guys get an opportunity to talk to us, and we will tell you how to buy good business, grow your profits, and make it run without you. Make sure you guys follow us on the Lifestyle Business Owner on Facebook and Instagram. You can also listen to the Lifestyle Business Owner Show anytime, anywhere on lboradio.com. That's lboradio.com.
Time for a quick break, but we'll have more of the Lifestyle Business Owner Show right after this, here on Business Radio 1300 KKOL.